who has a few words to say before we get into the full program.
All right, thanks. All right, well, good afternoon. And look, this piece of land, we've been here before. And, you know, I can't help but remember, I think it was back when I was a state senator, you know, the city bought this land. So that was good. Got to give credit for the city for buying this land and making sure that we could do something with it in general, which is what we're talking about today. But I do just want to acknowledge also the neighbors, right? How many charrettes have you been on for this piece of land? Like at least 3?
15 years.
15 years of charrettes. Well before Nicole and I. Yeah. So that's right. And so look, what we've got here is finally an answer for the most of the part of this, with respect to what we're actually going to do on this land. And so there's a couple of aspects that I just want to touch on because we got a lot of folks. We want to hear from the community, but I think a couple of things I just want to acknowledge. A couple of people, Commissioner Barbeau is here, big supporter of the area. And I know we're going to talk and hear from the participatory budgeting crew, but great job on that. And so a round of applause for them. And of course, District 6 Coalition President, the man, Pete Boletto. And now he's on the State Fair board. Talk to him about all your State Fair questions. So, but look, I do want to highlight a couple of things. One, our counselor is going to go into participatory budgeting, but I want to acknowledge the role. Actually, I'm going to say that for when I introduce you, counselor. So we'll get to that. So let's get back to this project. We are announcing, of course, the creation, the groundbreaking of the international market, food truck, place, plaza, etc. that is all going to be here. That's what this is about. But it is about so much more than that. It is an example, number one, of the commitment that I've made and the counselor has continued to make to investing in this area. And you're going to see it. You see it right there with the ACS headquarters. You're going to see it with this and hopefully with what we're going to do on the other side. But you also see it with little things like this corridor for the walking school bus. That International Healthy Communities, by the way, they're here too. I saw Bernadette. Give us a wave. International District Healthy Council Commission, round of applause. Or coordinating IHCC, yeah. So that little alley is how kids get to school. And I found out in the fall, it's not going to quite make it for the start of school. We're going to have a hawk light to make sure that folks can go right in there. So that is on the way. So we are going to keep investing in this community. And this also, of course, combines the lack of availability of fresh food and the lack of availability for entrepreneurial activity and business investment in the area. That's what this entire project is all about in terms of the international district market. And of course, it also means a place that is safe and a place that has some shade and some trees and some green space that our families can gather. And so that is what we love about this piece of right now. What you see is, of course, nothing that reflects any of that, but that is the future that this project stands for. It is truly connecting all sorts of challenges, but also opportunities that we have in this area. Now, this couldn't happen without working together with our community, of course. Also a wonderful partnership with funding from the counselor and from the state legislature. And there's a lot of different funding streams that we put together, including our DMD department scrounging pennies out of the couches and everything like this, that basically turned out to be matching funding to make this whole project happen. But the point is, this is going to happen, and we're going to open up opportunities for vendors and food trucks and fresh food options for neighbors, and of course, desperately needed safe community space right next to our community safety headquarters. So adjacent to this lot, of course, we want to do some mixed-use housing. We know that that's needed, but we want it to be mixed use. Want to be clear. The last thing we need is a ton more density. So that's not what that is about. It is about mixed-use housing. Thanks. Okay, so let's, I think, do this. I first, because we did have a legislator here, a senator who's very supportive of this, so I want to create a little space for Senator Antoinette Cedillo-Lopez to say a few words.
You guys, I am just so excited about this project.
As you know, capital outlay is just money. So what you need are the ideas. And I am really committed, and I know Nicole, or Councilor Rogers said that she's going to do the timing, so that, because the timing was a little off for our capital outlay money to really invest as much as I wanted to, but we did a little bit. And so I really want to follow this community funding approach with my capital outlay dollars, because ideas from the community, ideas from the community are the best ideas. So thank you for letting me say a few words, and thank you to every single person who participated in this community budgeting process. I know so many people did, and it made a difference. And I'm very excited about the walking path, and I'm very excited that we're able to do this as well. So thank you to everyone. Thank you, Mayor. We really appreciate the investment in our community. And,
got it. Thanks.
And thank you, Council Rogers, for the ideas.
You got it.
Okay, now a little bit about the story of this project. You know, this, as we heard, there have been project ideas here for some 15 years. And, you know, how many times we heard, you know, I think all the planning and all the discussion, but none of the results. And one of the things that we committed to is that this space was going to be a market space. And I just want to acknowledge what you see already is like the least glamorous, but in many ways the hardest. You see lights, you actually see cameras. There's not action yet, but that'll be next. But you all see electricity. So that's right, the city, the first round, we said collectively, this will happen. It's just a question of when, and also like what it's all gonna look like and how it's all gonna work. But we actually did some of the hard work that you're standing on right now that doesn't look glamorous, but was extremely important, because when the vision was realized and our counselor put together the participatory budgeting project, we had a place to start, literally this physical place that already had electricity and lighting. And so the next step, of course, I remember when Councilor Rogers got elected, we missed her at OEI. So that was kind of part of the downside, but much better upside to have her at council. I told her I wanted the whole city to do participatory budgeting. And I think I tried to run this bill and it got like 0 votes. And she is the only counselor who took me up on the offer. I said, you know what you should do is do it with your own money to show how powerful it is. And I gotta say, like, I didn't actually think she would do it, because like no other counselors were, no offense to the other counselors. But she totally owned this from day one and ran it with an amazing process and amazing folks that she's gonna tell you all about. So, and the decision was to sort of finish this project. And that was also a small request. I said, please pick a few projects that we can actually just do and finish, not just partially fund. And she honored both those commitments. So let's bring up your counselor, Councilor Rogers.
Yay!
Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Mayor. I am so excited for today. I can't stand it. How about y'all? And like the mayor said, we stand on the shoulders of generations of folks that wanted this to happen. And I don't want to take all the limelight today, because this is really about the community. This is about participatory budgeting, which is something that we've talked about for a long time at the city. And then Mayor's right. He wanted me to run a bill that told all my other city councilors they had to do what I'm doing. Now that wasn't going to work, right? Because they get to decide for their communities what's best. But let's be real. The city, this is a drop in the hat. My 1.5 million, or our district's 1.5 million, is a drop in the hat to the city's $175 million of capital budget. So I challenge Mayor, you can do it in the city and you don't need council to do it, right? Because we can say a certain percentage is set aside for the community to decide. We're building it, we're building the process, thanks to the people behind me that signed up to not only do participatory budgeting, but actually put together a whole process that said people could put in project ideas. We had a process, thanks to PB Stanford, to have community vote, and we had over 1,200 people who live, work, and play in our district vote on this project right here today. Absolutely. And I just have to shout out some of the folks that really helped us get this off of the ground, which is UNM. We have Jennifer Tucker here from UNM, who really, this was a perfect storm of me getting elected by you to serve as your counselor. But then the People's Budget was actually doing this work during 2020, during the George Floyd uprising, saying we need a different way to prioritize the city budget with what the community's priorities are. And so it was a perfect storm that we could all come together. And really the folks behind me are steering team members, our budget delegates who spent hours, right, team? Hours of blood, sweat, tears, duking it. No, I'm just kidding. We had to do some restorative justice stuff work as well, right? Because when you're doing community work, people have strong feelings of what they want to see in their community. But we were able to also model a process for how we overcome that together as a community and how we push forward to this today. And that's where we're at. So. But I know so many people poured into this, but I really want to ask Colleen to come up and say a few words, because Colleen, come on, Colleen. Colleen had she actually submitted 2 projects to participatory budgeting that were so awesome that actually both of the projects are getting done. So I want her to tell you about her experience with PB and just share your story about what this meant to you and what, you know, all the things she tells us, but I want you to hear too from her.
Hello. I'm Colleen Sosi, and I live in District 6 in the western South San Pedro area. Oh, sorry. And when I first started participatory budgeting, I had no idea what I was stepping into. I thought I had to attend maybe 1 or 2 meetings, and that was pretty much it. But after meeting by meeting, it was pretty much I had to learn what participatory budgeting was and kind of do my own homework, and so I wouldn't get behind on what was going on in these meetings. But after all, all the effort we put in, I actually got a feel of what the whole thing meant and what it pretty much promised to the whole community in this whole ordeal of the participatory budgeting and what the GO bonds money went towards, which is the project. And one of the projects I did put into was the 3-way stop at Zuni and Washington Street. And so we had done that, and because of all the accidents that have gone there, I forgot her name, but she was one of the council people at downtown, and she had put it into the DMD, and they had saw all the accidents that were happening there, so they had came back to her and told her that with the city's funding, not the GO bonds money, that it was going to get built. And so after that, 2 weeks later, we saw a 3-way stop there. And so I guess just what the community's word and saying, it can go further than what, it can go further than what we hope and stuff. So, and now, then I put the growers market in with William Clayton, and got the proposals from 2 members in the community. They were their project proposals, and I was the steering committee for that, and we just went around, did what we had to do, and get the votes, and here we are. And so it works, and I'm just happy to say, I'm just your regular parent of District 6, community person, work here in District 6, so I'm just any other person, neighbor. So, but yeah, your word is can be heard, and I just want to say, yeah, thanks.
That's what it's all about. Colleen, it's amazing to see that, we don't often feel listened to by government in community. We don't often feel like we have a voice in what we need in our community. And I just have to, this is a perfect segue to DMD, because with DMD has been, this is the beautiful thing of when you work with community, when you work with the administration, we work with our state partners, our county partners, our community. Beautiful things can happen when we are all pulling in the same direction, and that's really what this is. I mean, what Colleen just shared was action. DMD heard from her what her issue was. That's where she lives. That's the intersection she lives around. And to be able to just see her, since she called me and was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're actually going to do it. Because of what I said, they're actually doing it. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so I want to turn it over to Chris at DMD, because without DMD, participatory budgeting, I mean, from sending us their capital expert to train the community on what all of this meant, to working with us on the project teams to make sure that we're on the same page. That's why this is happening so quickly, right? It's because of folks in DMD that heard, okay, this is the winning project. They met with the community. They, I mean, literally are waiting for us to leave so they can start the work. That's how awesome our DMD is. So I want to turn it over, and please give Chris a big round of applause.
Thank you very much. In DMD, we love to build things. As you can tell, we're starting to clear off the property here. We have some folks that are working in the back already. We like to build things that are transformative for local community. This has a lot to do with the fact that we listen to exactly what people are saying within the community, and then working together in partnership with everybody to bring the finances, the architects, which we have design group, and our construction company, which as well, to really look at and say, what could we do to make something very beautiful for this community? We've designed a space that will incorporate food trucks. It'll have a place for gathering for folks to come and hang out. It'll be safe, and more importantly, will be for the community. I think that's probably the most important part, is somewhere that people can come and be safe, enjoy each other's company, be able to enjoy food, and be safe. This is also critical because we're in partnership with ACS, who's right across the street from here, or right across the way, and Triple H. If you see these storage units are right behind us, those will also be up here, which will be used for temporary storage for unhoused who come here seeking services. And so we just want to say that we're incredibly excited. Thank you. We're incredibly excited to be doing this project. It's going to be a very close and dear project to most of us in DMD, because although we build stuff, we also care about the people that use the stuff that we build. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. This is an amazing partnership. Like I'm telling you, they really are going to start after we leave, which is so exciting, especially the timeline, right? Like that, we're hoping to be back here for a big party for the opening, right? In spring is the goal. And that is like, people are like, what? Government's moving that fast? Yeah, not fast. It's been 15 years that this community has been waiting for this, so it's definitely not fast. But I do want to give some space to Miss Khadijah Bottom, who runs Vision Sankofa, who's been a part of the design of this project since the beginning, way before I got here. And so please help me welcome Vision Sankofa Director, Vision Sankofa, Khadijah.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say it's been a long time coming. It has been over 15 years that I've passed back and forth through here wondering what they was going to do. For 8 years, I was the president of South San Pedro Neighborhood Association, and I was steady. What are we going to do with San Mateo and Catherine? I would also like to say the canisters back there actually belong to Vision Sankofa, donating to this area, and it's really going to be awesome. I think it's going to really bring a little more life to this area. As we all know, we won't go into that, but it's just great what can happen when people come together like-minded. And I want to thank the mayor for backing Nicole, and Nicole for backing the mayor on bringing this to this day.
Yeah.
All right, so for us, for next steps, I just want to make sure people know the PB process in District 6, we're going to keep doing it every 2 years. So in the participatory budgeting, yes. We're going to keep doing this. Every time that the city is working on our capital budget, we're going to be working on this, which is exciting because then we truly as a community have a say in what happens and what actually goes on the bond, on the ballot in November for your bond questions, right? Because how many of you see those on the ballot, right? But do you ever get a say on what goes on the ballot? No. Well, that PB does. PB gives us the ability to then say, yeah, that one of our projects is getting put into the bond because of this process, right? Which is the 5 Blocks for Life project that we couldn't fund with this, which came from Wilson Middle School, and there's so much more to come about that. So keep an eye out. We'll be doing another round of PB, not 2026, but 2027 when we're redoing. We need a year to implement and make sure this is successful before we go on to another project. So I just want to give a little space to Jennifer Tucker, who wanted to explain a little bit about what PB is, because again, education, education, education. And so please help me welcome Jennifer Turner from UNM.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Tucker, Associate Professor of Community and Regional Planning at UNM. And with a group of students a few years ago, we started working on this project, asking how can we get the city to invest in systems of care rather than systems of policing and punishment. And it's so exciting to be here today to see this realization. And I just want to emphasize that PB, participatory budgeting, is a worldwide experiment it's been going on for decades in cities around the world, and it has a track record of amazing results. And we're about to see some of those results here in Albuquerque. When it was launched in Puerto Alegre in Brazil in the 80s, for many years, the whole city budget was decided on by ordinary community residents. And during that time, that community saw reductions in poverty, huge increases in access to services, really transformative results. And so while this is a small example, we're looking at the discretionary funds of one city councilor. There's the potential to transform how Albuquerque does city budgeting by bringing ordinary community members in the process. We've heard so many people say that when regular people have a say over how money gets spent, cities are transformed. So that's what we're here to celebrate today. Participatory budgeting gives real people real power over real money, and this has the potential to transform Albuquerque. Thanks so much.
Well, I want to thank everybody for putting up with this heat. I know we're all sweltering, so it's time to get to some action. So we've got some shovels over here.
Two people really quick.
And we got 2 people.
So sorry, I know we're doing all sorts of things. So just before we migrate, because they're like, basically the way this works is, behind the scenes, like Nicole and I talk, and it's like, well, we need money, and it's like, we got to get participatory budgeting, but we got to wait for the answer because that's the whole point. And then there's all this stuff. But at the end of the day, there's actually 2 people who work for our team who make this a priority. Like, that's why it's happening now. And I just mean mechanically, because to be honest, the elected officials can do all they want. But if these 2 people don't say yes, it doesn't happen. And that's Jennifer Turner, the head of DMD. And the woman who pulls all the strings behind the scenes, who no one knows. Charlie Salas Ramos, our deputy COO. She's embarrassed I even mentioned it. Okay, so Dan, tell us what we're doing.
All right. So we have 5 shovels, but we've got many hands. So let's see if we can get as many hands as we can on each of these shovels. And we're going to do a ceremonial groundbreaking here for the ID market.
Okay, sounds good.
And we want to thank our friends from ACS, including Walter, who we want to have his hands on one of the shovels. ACS's headquarters right here to the south of us. Represented here today, we want your hands on the shovels too.
And let's double up on shovels here, just for fun. Kids, if any kids want to get in, you guys want to come around here? Come around here. Why don't you guys come around here so we can all see you? Come on, you can share a shovel. Wait. We'll just do it all together. Let's get some more. Share a shovel. Operation Share a Shovel.
Operation Share a Shovel.
We can do this. Okay, we should probably get a countdown. So let's do 3 backwards. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, watch out for you. One more. Yeah. Just do one and hold it, but don't dump it.
Oh, don't dump it.
Okay. All right, guys, hold it.
All right. Hold it for the shot, okay.
All right. A little gently there.
And if anybody wants to climb our dirt hill.
That's okay. Don't tell me.
Good job, everyone. You'll do it.
Nice to meet you, too.